Now, if you got a pound of ground beef in 20 minutes, I'm about to show you how to make a delicious Mongolian beef recipe that's better than takeout. And trust me, the whole family's gonna love it and ask for it again and again.
Now, I hope you are as excited to see this recipe as I am to make it for you. There's 3 steps. We're gonna get right into it. The first thing we're gonna do is make the sauce. Second, we're gonna brown the beef. And third, we're gonna saute the vegetables. Now, these are all the ingredients that you're gonna need here. These are fairly easy ingredients to find for your vegetables and your sauce. And of course, I got my ground beef as well. However, let's start this off in step 1 by making the sauce. We're gonna use about a half a cup of soy sauce. If you prefer low sodium, that works as well too. About a 1/4 cup of beef broth, half a cup of water, 3/4 cups of brown sugar, include that in there. And it can't be he's got flavor without the flavor, so I prefer to add about a half a teaspoon of red pepper chili flakes. All right, now we got the sauce done and ready. We want to set that to the side. And before we cook the beef, I like to go ahead and cut up my vegetables so that's already done so we can make this as easy as possible. Yeah, I prefer to keep them about that size right there. Same thing to the red bell pepper. Take all those peppers, set them to the side on the plate. Now you want to get your medium-sized red onion and we want to cut this up into thinner strips. Now what you essentially get when you cut it in half is like these half moon style onions, but I like to cut it one more time just because that's like the bite that I like, but you can do whatever you like. Take out the bigger, chunkier pieces that you may have, and if you get a good onion like this is, real men don't cry unless they cut onions. Now take those and set those on my plate where all the vegetables go. Now if you prefer, you can use maybe like a pre-pureed ginger. I like to use the actual real ginger on the ginger root. So if you don't know this trick, use a spoon and you can kind of peel back the flesh very, very easy on this. And we don't need too much ginger, but that's it, see? The spoon will peel this off so quickly. Make it so easy. I'll cut a few slices just like that. That's all we need. Cut those up into little small pieces a little bit there. Get those ginger pieces and set those to the side. Now I'm using about 4 pieces of garlic. I think that's all you need in this recipe here. I like to mash it up as it makes it much easier to mince together. I get all my garlic together, slide that to the side. And the last thing we need to prepare and cut up is just the scallions. Now on traditional Mongolian beef, the scallions are about 2 inches or so apart. I'm gonna keep some to do just like that, but I'm also gonna take a few and I'm gonna cut them up into smaller pieces. Take that and add that to our vegetables. This makes things much easier. Okay. Now again, just for a little texture, I'll cut these so they're about 2 inches or so apart just for a difference in texture. And there you go. For those, you just want them to kind of look about like that, about that length. They're pretty uniform. All right, you done cut up your vegetables. Now you want to get your pan on and get it nice and hot. Throw a little bit of oil in there. I like to throw a little sesame oil in there just for the flavor. And I also just like to mix it in with a little bit of olive oil. Depending on your cut of beef that you have in your ground beef, I'm using grass-fed for this particular one. Some makes more grease and water content, others don't. But we're gonna just throw this right inside. All right, after a couple minutes, the beef is nice and ground up. Then I like to season it. Now you can use salt, pepper, garlic, whatever you like for your ground beef. I'm using my personal steakhouse seasoning from House of Flavor, but use whatever you want to season your meat. I give a nice little flavor, not too much on it, and then just mix that up inside. Now once some of that water moisture is boiled off, I take a little bit of sesame oil, put it in the middle, and throw in my fresh garlic. Get that mixed around in the bottom. And now also adding your fresh ginger. What you're gonna love most about this is already the aroma, the smell, The kids gonna run from down the street. The postman gonna knock on the door. This smells really good already. Now we're gonna take this and just transfer this to a nice bowl as such right here. Take this seasoned beef and just transfer it to the side. Now in the same pan, we're gonna get these vegetables ready. All right, now we take them vegetables. It's time to cook them. What I like to do is just start with the peppers by themselves. Get the peppers going for about a minute or two. I put in some fresh sesame oil. Let them move around in there nicely. Then after about 2 minutes, we're gonna add in the broccoli. All right, you add that fresh broccoli in there, and only for a few minutes. Now you wanna get some steam so that broccoli can cook. You can use water. I like to use a little sherry wine, just to drizzle that in there. Has a nice flavor, aroma, smells good, tastes good. And then you throw a little lid over top of that and let that simmer just for a few minutes. Now, as you know, cooking broccoli is all about the color. So when it turns nice and green after a couple minutes, you're ready to go. Let's look at it. Oh yeah. I season it up a little more because we want flavor all the way through. Now we throw in the red onions, drip those in there, and a secret ingredient. All right, now we got all the vegetables ready, and the seasoned ground beef goes back into the pan just like that. Now we get that sauce. Now the sauce that's in here is fairly a decent consistency, but some of you may want a thicker Mongolian sauce. If that's the case, take about a tablespoon of cornstarch, 2 tablespoons of water, and right at the end drip that in there, and that will thicken that sauce up for you like you like it. You don't have to do that, but it is a good tip to have a thicker sauce. Put some freshness in there. There we go. Okay. That's thickened. Now that it's thickened, I'll throw a little more in there. Okay. Okay. Now before you go diving into this beautiful plate, you cannot forget the remaining drip. That's the most important. And just like that, you are done. I absolutely know you're gonna enjoy this meal. And I can't get out of here without tasting it. But my 9-year-old daughter threatened me that if I don't wait for her to have this lunch together, I'm gonna be in trouble. So I made myself this little snack size bowl just so I can taste it. Let's go. Here's a tip. You will see flavor in every layer. This is the way I get my daughter to eat broccoli, and all the peppers and everything that goes along with it. It is so good. I have a feeling y'all are gonna be really grateful for this one. And let me know once you try it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And I'm gonna go, because I got a lunch date with a 9-year-old who loves to eat good.